What up, y'all? Manasseh here, and welcome back to another episode of Mintermission. With me is my sister Mary, and we are back to review Stranger Things Volume 2 and the finale. How's it going, Mary?
Hey Manas, thanks for having me back again.
Of course.
I'm excited to get into it. We have several episodes to unpack this time. I'm excited.
We do. And we were thinking about, should we just do Volume 2 for one episode and then the finale, but we figured maybe it'd be better to have both together. But either way, I think it could have worked.
I think yeah,
So,
they have this similar tone. I think part one had its own vibe, and then part two and the finale had its own trajectory as well. So I think this is a better way to do it.
absolutely. All right, so we'll be covering episodes 5 to 8. So I guess we'll just start by talking about volume 2. So I guess just give me your brief overall thoughts on what you thought of volume 2, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of what we liked and what we didn't like.
Okay, going into volume two, we had obviously there was at least a week between volume one and volume two. And I had a set of expectations and questions, specific questions that I wanted answered during volume two, and none of them were answered. There was one answer actually, just one. And so on that side of things, in terms of how I expected Stranger Things to conclude, I was dissatisfied. But in terms of just pushing the story forward, it was all right. Like I was entertained, but it did not meet my expectations, which lead to some dissatisfaction. That's my overall thing. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same bucket as you when it comes to my thoughts on volume 2, because I think volume 1, because we both really liked volume 1. In our review, we gave it a lot of props. We thought it started off a little slow with the first two episodes, but the ball kept rolling with episodes 3 to 4. And the way it ended, that cliffhanger with Will aura farming and showing us his powers, we're like, oh my God, we can't wait for volume 2, you know? Like that was awesome. But yeah, and like you said, like we still had a lot of unanswered questions. We were hoping that volume 2 would answer them. And we did get a couple of answers, but there were still a lot of, I guess, plot holes, is what you would call it, you know. And yeah, I think it definitely had some good moments. I definitely don't think it was as bad as everyone was making it out to be because it was getting a lot of hate. I don't know if you saw the audience score, but it had like a 58%, which Stranger Things has never went that low before. So I do
Yeah,
think the hate is overblown, but I do share some of the criticisms that people had, you know.
I agree. I think it was overblown, and I think that again, it was more of like didn't meet expectations, but wasn't necessarily bad. They just didn't go the roads that we want. They didn't take the paths we wanted them to take. Like it was there were some solid scenes, very important scenes, like the information that we got from Kali about, why she was at the military base, the MACZ, what they wanted to do with her, what else should be aware of. Really, that's significant stuff. There was a lot of hate around Will coming out. And I don't think it was like more in a homophobic sense. It was more from a lens of this is not the time, given, we were about to, it was towards the end of part two, and right after that was supposed to be the finale, which was also only 2 hours long. And so it was, it had good stuff, just not what we would expect from a final season.
No, definitely. Yeah, Callie returning was definitely interesting because, like I said in my previous review, I did not think that we would see her again. I thought after that one episode in season 2, it was just a one and done, one off. Not going to see her, but her addition was definitely interesting. Oh, and spoiler alert! I forgot to mention that we are going to get into spoilers. So if you guys haven't seen Volume 2 in the finale, just watch that and come back here. So when it comes to Callie, how did you feel about her? her her trying to pretty much convince Elle that there is no other way to win this war unless we sacrifice ourselves, leave our family and friends, and just escape because there Dr. K and the military are going to continue finding them no matter what. So, how did you feel about that? Did you think she was overreacting, or do you think there was some validity into what she said?
I felt a mix of emotions. I think that I the mix of emotions come from like I thought everything that she was saying was extremely valid. I don't think she was over exaggerating or freaking out. I think it was really valid, but also a bit pessimistic. And of course, I love Elle, and I did not want her to die. From a audience perspective, not necessarily in terms of how it was going to end, but in general, I don't want Elle to be dead. And so, even though I think it was important for her to die at the end, if she did die, we'll get there. But I think that it was a mix of emotion. Like, I I was happy that that awareness was brought to Elle, but I felt like Kali was being pessimistic. Like, I was worried she was gonna manipulate the team, throw off the team. I was hoping she would be more open-minded and finding solutions, but it seemed like she was a little hard-headed. That made me nervous, but I think it was valid. How did you feel?
Yeah, same with you. It was
You hated
definitely
you hated her.
okay. Yes, I did initially. I was like, okay, her character seems very dry. She's too negative about things. But the more I think about it, the more understandable it is because when she explained her backstory, what happened to her friends, witnessing their deaths, her being tortured by the military, I guess if I were to put myself in her shoes, I would have probably yeah, I would have probably had that same kind of mentality because I have been tortured for too long. I've witnessed a lot of deaths. I'm going to lose hope if I'm in that situation. So, yes, initially I guess I didn't think of it that way, but when I thought about it, I was like, okay, it makes sense that her character is going that route. And I definitely think that caused a rift with Elle and Hopper, because obviously Hopper doesn't want to lose her, but eventually Callie starts to, pretty much convince Elle and bring them on the same board. Now, the thing with Elle, look, we both love Elle. She's the star of the show, one of the main characters. One of my biggest issues with Volume 2 is they sidelined her character. This, not just with Volume 2, I feel like with this whole season, the final season of Stranger Things, how could the main character be sidelined? Like, it just, like, how is she not the star? With Volume 2, she's one of the few characters that got the least amount of screen time.
Yeah.
That is a big issue for me. And I think that's where some of the hate is coming from. And I agree. Like, it's the final season. If this was any other season of Stranger Things, I probably wouldn't have that much of an issue with it. But because it's the final season, you got to put the focus on the kids, the main characters. Like, they should share the spotlight, and it should be. But I guess there was just an imbalance, with her and with Holly. But we'll get into Holly later on. But do you agree with me on that sentiment?
Yeah, it didn't feel great that especially the way they started season 5, like, with Elle training and, like, clearly so much stronger, and they showed us that the capabilities of her powers are growing. We've never seen it before. So, they set us up to get really excited to see some badass moves from Elle, and we didn't see that much. I mean, season 1, we saw some. I mean, sorry, part 1, we saw some. And then part 2 and 3, we didn't see anything new, and that wasn't that was I you know, one of my, like, lingering thoughts after watching season 5 is, like, because I think I really enjoyed the Holly content, and I think she's important, and we don't want anything to be rushed, and I think, either they should have cut down on Holly's screen time, but I think all the scenes with Holly, like this mind trap that is the Creel house, was probably one of the highlights of the whole season. And so I appreciate that, and I wouldn't say they should cut down on that, but then it makes us think like, okay, should we have had more episodes in season 5, or was it
Make them longer.
mistimed? make them longer, but they're already pretty long. I think we were spoiled, honestly, from past seasons. Past seasons, we got a lot of content, like they were long episodes, but it was appropriately timed out. Like we got a lot of and also the newer characters. Like in season 3, we got a lot of Billy, but we still got a lot of the kids. In season 4, we got a lot of Vecna, we still got a lot of the kids. This time, it wasn't really like that. And so I feel like saying that we need longer episodes, like they're pretty long, but
So I
maybe
guess
we
it's
needed
just
more
more.
episodes
Yes,
because I
yes.
wouldn't suggest cutting down on the Holly stuff. But also, like, especially Elle, we needed more.
We did. And I don't disagree that the scenes need to be shortened, but I do think for some of them they did. Like in episode 5, I think it was episode 5 when Holly and Max were working together in the abyss while all the other kids were, you know, convinced that Henry's the good guy. Well, her, Derek, and Max. Yeah, Derek included. But that scene when they went into the canyon and they were, doing the running up that hill thing again with both of them, that scene dragged. It dragged. I get the point. I get that Max was trying to give Holly confidence, give her the Holly the heroic alter ego that she needs in order to live and survive. But that scene was just way too long. They could have shortened it. I feel like that took up a lot of screen time to give other characters a chance to shine. But, you know,
That was an interesting thing. Yeah, no, first of all, I love Max. She might be my favorite character. She's definitely one of my favorite characters. But
I like Max too.
a lot of like the whole running up the hill thing, we've seen that sequence like 3 or 4 times. We didn't need to do that. Not necessarily the song, but like Max running, like
Yeah, yeah,
okay, we
yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was too much.
But the speaking, I just feel like I don't think it was actually that long, like in terms of minutes, but it didn't fit in with the urgency of the situation. Like we were all like yelling at the screen, like,
Right.
go, go. So I feel like it was just more of like maybe that was just a little bit of the writing, but in terms of actual minutes, I feel like it wasn't that long. But yeah, I just feel like the audience's priorities and the Duffers' priorities were not aligned.
I still disagree with you that because you don't think it dragged, is what you're saying. I think it did. I think that could have been
It dragged. There were
shorter.
scenes that
Oh, I thought you
dragged.
did. Okay.
No, but I'm not saying that that is the reason why the other people didn't get screen time or specifically that scene.
Hmm.
There were some scenes that did drag, but I don't think it's about the dragging. I think it's about like what are your priorities? Like what are you trying to show us? What messages are you trying to put across?
Yeah, yeah. And well, all right. I guess we'll move on from that. So, I guess with the positives that I have for Volume 2, we did get some good character moments from from some of the main characters, specifically with Jonathan, Nancy, Will, Steve, and Dustin. I think they shined the most in Volume 2. But again, it shouldn't just be them. Elle should have shined. Mike should have shined. Joyce and Hopper should have shined. But I did like what they did with I guess we'll start with Jonathan and Nancy. I think this was in episode 6 when they're in that room with the candle wax and as it's rising. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as we were watching it, I had a feeling that Jonathan was gonna pull out the ring, but I didn't know what he was gonna do with it. If he was gonna be like, you know what? No, now's not the time, or now is the time. But what did you think of that scene?
So yeah, great question. So I think that overall, thumbs up. I liked this scene. At first, I felt like it was too long. In hindsight, I think it was appropriate. I think, the Nancy and Jonathan thing, it started developing in season 1. Like it's been with us the whole time. I think it deserved a proper conclusion and a well-written conclusion, and it did conclude well. I liked that they were finally honest with one another. I like that it was such an amicable breakup. Like I wish all breakups were like that, honestly. It was so like they genuinely were finally on the same page. They really named all the elephants in the room. Like they were like the trauma bond, the college thing. the Steve thing. Like they really were so brutally honest, and of course because they thought that they were gonna die. So love the scene. And I like how he did bring the ring. Like they put everything on the table, which is really good. Of course, Nancy ended up by herself, which is what I think with time everybody kind of predicted. So I don't know. I wish I was a little surprised, but it's okay. I mean, it's the right thing to do, I think. What I did not like, and this is something that you and I have spoke about, I will continue to talk about, is there were a lot of things that were just a little too convenient for the characters. The fact that the wax stopped rising right when it was about to, touch their knees or whatever, like as soon as it was about to make contact with their bodies, it stopped right there. And I don't have like an alternative ending for that scene or whatever. Again, I love the dialogue. I don't really care where the dialogue could have or should have taken place, but I was like, seriously, like I felt like I was watching a kids show. I was like legitimately perfect timing. We don't even know what that substance is. We don't know what made it stop. We don't know we don't even know about it. And it was just anyway, so that did frustrate me. But overall, I'm giving this scene a thumbs up.
I did think it was a good scene also. I thought it was an important moment for the both of them. And the issue that you just described is what I've been saying since we started with the plot arc. The plot
The
armor
plumber, yeah.
way too much in this entire season. Here's another example.
Define what plot armor is for the audience.
Okay, so pretty much in a nutshell, plot armor is when there are little to no stakes when it comes to the characters in the story. There aren't in any danger or they're not near to any dangerous situations that they're at, and they're keeping the characters safe. And I think the plot armor has never been stronger than it has in season 5, which is heavily ironic because you would expect the final season of a show like this to be the most dangerous, to be the
Yeah.
darkest one. And it turned out to be the opposite. And here's another example of plot armor. And you and I have talked about this. The scene when, and I think this is in the same episode, when, what's his name? Lucas. When Lucas was carrying Max to the elevator and the Demodogs start coming, he kicked one Demodog, it went down, and he managed to escape. When have we ever seen that before in Stranger Things when one kick can take a Demodog down? Like, this is a this is a beast, a creature, a wild animal, and one kick from a kid? No, stupid.
And here's
Absolutely stupid.
another one that and so I love Karen Wheeler. I really love her. But I remember when we were watching it, I was so nervous. I was like, "Oh my God, like this could be the end for one of them," Like and then Karen, there were washing machines, right? On one side of the room,
Remember that at the hospital?
and they were hiding, and the radio was playing, okay? The cassette tape of Running Up That Hill was playing.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like, "Please, Lucas, turn it off." He's like, "No, it's for Max." So you're telling me that these dogs didn't find them and attack them. Anyways, so what we know is that Karen opened one of the washing machines, put an as mini oxygen tank in there,
Yeah.
closed it, right? And I remember my thoughts in real time. I was like, when we knew that the oxygen thing was in the washing machine or the dryer, whatever, I was like, the Demodogs are in the same room as the kids are in the same room as the dryer. I'm like, if the washing machine explodes, the whole room is gonna explode. I was like, this is not a good plan. I remember before it exploded, I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna get burned or something. And it happened to be that the Demodogs were particularly attracted to that oxygen thing. They went really close to it. It exploded. Nothing happened to the kids. How would Karen have known that? How was no one hurt?
Exactly. Like, where is the logic to the
Well,
decisions that the Duffer Brothers are making when it comes to the
I want
story
to add
and these.
one more before I have a theory, okay? I mean, I know we can keep going, but this one is sitting in my
Sure,
chest.
sure, good.
The Abyss.
Mm.
Miras, do you know how much danger they were in previous finales, in previous like season finales?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go back to season 3 at the mall, how scared they were, how that thing was so close to Elle. It was actually attacking Elle. Elle got hurt. Then this thing was growing in her and everything. Like they were actually in danger. There were stakes.
We felt the tension. We
Yeah.
felt
And they were,
anxious for these characters.
yeah,
Yeah.
people died and they were getting hurt. And then even in season 4, when we thought that Max was going blind, I was like, oh my God, a repercussion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now when they go into the abyss, which is where the mind flare lives, which is where Vecna's body is, which is where the kids are, which are apparently the most precious thing to their plan, they were just strolling as if they were in a Martian movie.
Where were the
They
Demogorgons
should
there?
have taken pictures too, Bezo.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
They should have
so,
played a game.
so were the Demogorgons, the Demodogs only in the Upside Down? They weren't in the Abyss because we didn't see them in the Abyss.
Why the freak not?
Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank
I have
you.
one more. I have a theory to say though. I think that maybe, I don't think that anyone, including the Duffer Brothers, really thought that Stranger Things was going to explode the way it did when they started it.
Um,
And I think that they knew kind of how it was going to end when they started the show. But I don't think they knew all the in-betweens. And so I think that the Duffers wanted to stick to their gut in terms of what they initially envisioned for the ending. But I think they should have changed their minds a little bit. I think they should have been more open to adapting to the fans and how the show progressed. I think they wanted to stick to their original idea.
hmm hmm
And sure, I mean, and we can talk about how we feel about the finale specifically, but I feel like overall, it was just such a warm hug of an ending, which, I like warm hugs, but it did not fit the series that it turned into.
You hit the nail on the coffin. Like you just took the words out of my mouth. And here's the thing, Mayor. Yeah, like I'm sure they had no idea that Stranger Things was going to be the cultural phenomenon that it is in the pop culture zeitgeist. But at the same time, these guys take their sweet ass time in making these seasons more than 98% of TV shows out right now. So because they take their time with it, you would assume that they aren't rushing, number one, and this final season definitely felt like they were rushing in certain aspects. And two, that it would be as great as people would expect it to be if they're taking their time in making these seasons. Like, what other TV show has 3 to 4 year gaps than Stranger Things? I can't think of one. This took 10 years for 5 seasons. So I think that's another reason why people are being very harsh on this show, because if you're taking this much time, then
And spending that much money.
spending that much money, spending that much resources with all the tools that you have, like the wait time has to match the quality. And I think that's fair. I do.
I mean, okay, to be fair, like, there was COVID, there was the writer's strike, whatever, right?
Okay,
But they
okay,
did
but
take a long time.
hmm
But yeah, I just think that they they didn't adapt with the progression.
yeah, yeah.
I don't necessarily think it was rushed, but I think they stuck to whatever they imagined in 2015 or whatever.
hmm
But they things change. You have to improvise, and they didn't improvise. And I don't know. It was just like if it was just season 1 and season 5, I would be like, okay, whatever. But a lot of things happened in 2, 3, and 4, and they can't ignore that. You know? I mean, in season 4, there were random children that were targeted because they were suicidal or depressed or whatever. and killed instantly. They were haunted, stuck, and killed in a psychic way. That's scary. That's terrifying. And then here, it was very PG-13, as I've
It
been
was.
saying.
It was.
And
I think. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think season four felt more like a final season than season five. Because,
yes.
look, I haven't rewatched Stranger Things. I've only seen each season once, but I remember feeling the tension and feeling nothing but anxiety for what was going on in season four more than anything else. Even the way they advertised season four, the posters, the way they released it, that felt like a formula to release a final season. Anyways, we'll move on because there's a
Yeah.
lot of other things to talk about.
I was gonna
Um,
like I also have a lot of positive things to say about the finale,
no,
but yeah.
true.
Well, I'll
But
get there.
I did want to share one more thing before we get into the finale. The other positive that I do have for volume two is the dynamic with between Dustin and Steve. I
Mm,
think that scene where they were fighting both verbally and physically was necessary for them to finally get things off their chest, stop being dicks to one another. And look, it was brutal. They both said some very harsh things, but I definitely felt like it was needed. It was needed. They had to let go of this weight that's been holding onto their chests. And that was a major highlight for for volume two. What do you think? Do you agree?
yeah, honestly, I wasn't enjoying their bickering. I felt like honestly, I didn't expect it coming into season 5, and it made me kind of uncomfortable because I liked them. And I think it was a pretty good touch, honestly. It was a good dynamic. I feel like things were already tense with Steve and Jonathan, and then now Steve and Henderson. And it was fine. Like I understand the importance of it. I
Mhm.
didn't expect Dustin to take it this hard, the whole death. So I think the way that they portrayed his grief through his relationship with Steve was pretty effective. And I think the fight and stuff was necessary because they were being too mean to each other to just keep it pushing after
No,
that.
they
Like
were.
everything was fine. And it was very brotherly, I think, to fight it out. And and I like the ending. Eventually, they were open with each other, and that was one of the I think the good features I feel like of this season.
For sure, for sure. And listen, like, and I get that Dustin was, still grieving. He was still trying to get over the loss of someone that he looked up to a lot. But that doesn't give you an excuse to be a dick to your friends. I remember saying that in volume one, and I still
Hmm.
stand on that. But I also think the reason why Dustin took his death to heart is because, he was already friends with Steve, and looking it from the outside, you wouldn't expect someone like Steve to be friends with Dustin because Dustin, he's a geek, he's a nerd, and Steve is like the jock guy. But I think what made Dustin and Eddie's relationship so special is because Eddie was more similar to Dustin than Steve was.
Hmm.
Eddie, while still cool looking, he was also a nerd and a geek. Like he made it possible for Dustin to he made the idea of being nerdy and cool possible.
Hmm.
Steve couldn't do that because Steve wasn't nerdy and geeky. He
Hmm.
was just a good-looking, handsome, jock
Hmm.
type of guy. But Eddie was kind of like the hybrid. And I think that's what resonated with Dustin so much because he made Eddie believe in the impossible. So as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, that really makes sense why he took that to heart more than anyone else that died in this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, Dustin said he was like, he made me believe that I didn't need to change to be cool, you know? And I think as any kid does, like like if you find a older person in your life that you think is cool, you want to become them. And I think that's what Dustin was doing before. And then when he met Eddie, he realized he's like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I actually am cool just the way I am. And when you're growing up, that's when you think form your core thoughts and stuff. So, he takes everything to heart, and he's an emotional guy, and I understand that. And I think it also like the fact that everybody thought that Eddie was still a freak and stuff, even though he really sacrificed himself. I'm sure that added to the frustration. Like you guys don't even know him, and he's a hero, but nobody's remembering him as a hero. Yeah.
Most definitely. All right. Now we get to talk about the finale. 2 hours and 15 minutes. At
Yes.
first, we were like, is that long enough? Because it still left us with a lot of unanswered questions,
Yeah.
still didn't know much. I mean, we did understand what the upside down was, but in my opinion, I feel like I still needed more information. So what we know about the upside down for volume 2 is all it was just a bridge between Hawkins and the abyss. But I still didn't understand why the upside down mirrored Hawkins. I get that it's a bridge and what Vecna's trying to do, and we found out what Vecna's real plan was. He was trying to, bridge the gap between the abyss and Hawkins, try to merge the worlds. But why was the upside down like a copy of it, but just a darker version? I kind of wish they explained that. And the whole thing of the exotic matter, that was a little vague to me. I feel like that could
So
have been
many
explained
questions.
better. So many questions. Like,
So
I
many
guess all we could
questions.
assume is that this exotic matter that may have created the abyss was invented by scientists and it wasn't
It didn't
dark
create the
magic.
abyss. It stabilized the upside down.
Nice. Okay.
But it was created by Brenner and his people. I think that's what I remember.
Right, right, right.
The
Because we were
abyss
wondering
already
if it was dark
existed.
magic or something, but it was a scientific
Yeah.
experiment.
I mean, when did they even do that? Like who told them that that was the answer? Um,
And how
how
was the
did
abyss made? We don't know that either.
or maybe it was just always there, probably. But, how was it discovered? Um,
Yeah.
you know,
That's what I
ho
wanted to know.
yeah. A lot of questions on the origin of things.
Yeah. Maybe the play explains it. We'll get into the play later on, but maybe the play has the answers. I don't know.
I think it does have some answers, but even with the play, I'm like, as someone that did not watch the play and only watched the show on Netflix, I took Henry's word for it and towards the end of season 4 when he was like, I had an incident, which I guess we know that the incident is that, hitting that guy with the rock and then the palm thing. And then they moved to Hawkins. And then he just said that he was evil starting from there. The spiders and, the world
Yeah.
shouldn't, whatever. And
Him
now I
hating
guess,
humanity and
yeah.
all that.
And
Yeah.
then he killed his family and then Brenner found him and stuff.
Hmm.
And I guess now in hindsight, we're realizing that the mind flare was making him think he was innately evil. But I guess now we know that he was normal, and then the mind flare manipulated him and told him about how terrible humanity is and stuff like that. So I guess they could excuse it in that way. But apparently, he went to high school, which is like, there's so much missing. Like, that would have changed my impression completely. But I guess now it seems kind of intentional. He had friends. I don't understand how apparently, like, Hopper and Nancy Wheel I mean not Nancy Wheeler, the Wheelers in general. I guess the Wheelers don't really know about Vecna like that. But like how Hopper and Winona Ryder
Joyce.
Joyce went to high school with Henry and never mentioned anything. What does
No,
that even how?
no, no. And that's in my notes. For one of the things that they didn't touch on in the finale.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
didn't touch on that at all.
they
And
could they weren't like Henry. Oh, that name sounds familiar. I might
Creel,
have went to
Henry
high school with
Creel,
him.
in
They
season
could have just
4. Yeah.
yeah.
But anywho's, yeah, so there were a lot of questions. And yeah, so going into the finale,
Yes.
I had a lot of unanswered questions about the origins of things that
Hmm.
were not, which I thought were going to be answered in part 2, which were not. And also, we needed to see the whole how they were going to kill Vecna. Hopefully, I was hoping they were going to kill Vecna, which they did, and just a conclusion for the individual characters. So overall, my impression of the finale is we got a little bit of information about how Henry got his powers. We don't know how that thing got to that man in his briefcase or how it even got to Earth.
Yeah, the
Whatever.
stone that gave him access to the
Yeah, the
mind
stone
flayer or
thing.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw them kill Vecna. Was it satisfactory? Not particularly because of how again there was like it was just not that hard. Uh, and I wanted to
Plot
see more
armor.
of Elle's powers. I wanted to see more of Will's powers. I was so excited to see Will's full potential, which we didn't get to see. And ultimately, they gave all the characters a closing. So overall, this is a bit generous, but I'm gonna say I'm satisfied with the finale. I those are the three things that I wanted. I got those things. So I got a little bit of the first one, a little bit of the second one, all of the third one though. I really wanted I really wanted to say goodbye to each character one by one, and they did that perfectly. That part, I'll give them that. So overall, generously, I'll say I'm satisfied. But again, the plot armor was my big issue. But I'm shrugging my shoulders. The show meant a lot to us growing up, all that kind of stuff. It's not making me hate Stranger Things or anything. But anyways, I have more details to say, but let me pass
Yeah,
it
yeah,
back to you.
yeah. Okay, okay. No, that was great. That was great. So when it comes to the finale, I'm in the middle of the road on it. I do think the first half, while kind of entertaining, still underwhelming. Like like I pretty much share like the same thoughts that you have. When they got to the abyss, it didn't feel again, the tension was just not there. It felt like a piece of cake for them. Like, how could the finale be such a piece of cake for these guys? It should be the least. It should be the opposite. It should be the most dangerous thing that they've ever done before. The giant spider thing, with Vecna in there, like that's cool, but
It was cool. By the way, that was cool,
it was cool.
but
But
it wasn't literally nobody got a scratch on them.
not
I
only
feel like it was more danger like when they were in the mall in season 3,
that's what I was gonna say.
which was a fraction of the big spider, the Mind Flayer spider, I was more scared. And it felt
Thank you.
more deadly. Yeah.
Right. And since you made that, because I was about to say the same thing. The spider that we saw in season 3, yeah, same design, same kind of creature or whatever, but it wasn't even, it was probably 1/8 of the size that we saw in the finale. And I didn't feel scared at all for them. And I do think the second half of the finale was better. I did like the epilogue because the epilogue gave us kind of like, a solid conclusion for several of the characters. Like af- everything after the abyss, I enjoyed more.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
after the Abyss, I think they did amazing actually with the epilogue. Like
yeah,
overall,
yeah.
I
I do have some
I'm
gripes
I'm
with
in
it, but I
shock
do.
that some of the characters are still alive. Excusing that, the fact that everybody was happy in there except Elle. Excusing that, great epilogue. I shed tears. I liked how it was so like they really spent time on everybody except Murray, but that's fine. But they spent time on everybody, and I really appreciated that. How the heck did Max graduate? I don't know.
She's a grade below them. Well, no, 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 no. Not only that, she's been in a coma for a
She
long
was in a
time.
coma. Even before she was in a coma, she was in a serious depression. I don't even think she was doing anything.
Right. But wait, I thought she was a
I
grade
think
below
they're the
them too.
same grade.
Oh, no, no, no. They have to be.
They're in the same grade. They're in the same grade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right. But yeah, how did she graduate? Did they
Again,
did,
it
did
was
they just feel bad for
wonderful.
her? They were like, "Oh, it's not your fault. We saw what happened. Here's your diploma." I don't know.
Cool, cool. It felt like a High School Musical moment. Like I loved how they were all together. They all graduated together. Again, it was so picture perfect, which is cute. But come on, like give us a little realism. A little
I know.
realism.
I know. I
It
know.
was a very cute ending.
And I do like that Dustin went anti-establishment during his
Yeah,
valedictorian speech. I was like, "Here you go, Dustin.
that was
Yeah,
good. That was good.
throwing that middle finger off to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They put it in a very nice bow for us, but I don't know if it's not really a bow kind of show. Like I'm gonna make a comparison to Game of Thrones, the ending, how a lot of people hated it. In my opinion, it was like a very hyper realistic ending. Like it was too realistic. Like if those characters were real in this life, that's probably what would have happened. But a lot of the fans wanted a nice end, like a better, a little bit of a softer ending that would conclude the series well, that made the fans happy and everything. It was too realistic. This one, the opposites. Like they made it so fluffy. I'm
Well,
like,
not only fluffy, just illogical. Like there was just a lot of things that didn't make sense. Not enough. They made some irrational decisions, but with the finale, I was happy that Joyce got her revenge in a way of decapitating Vecna. That was
yeah,
cool
that
because
was a good one.
Joyce has definitely suffered a lot,
Yeah, it was a good
with her
one.
son and everything. But here's the other plot hole that I do not understand at all. When Vecna got stabbed from the back and he died, I thought Will was supposed to feel the same way, that have the same feelings or same like whatever Vecna was feeling, I thought Will was supposed to feel that. But I guess that got disconnected because they
Extremely
made it too
confusing.
convenient because they wanted Will to live.
Yeah, I just wish that
That was that just didn't make
they should have
sense.
been extremely clear about how exactly Will and Vecna are connected. It was never extremely clear. Sometimes he spies on him. I guess that's intentional through him. Sometimes he sees, Will can see through his eyes. Is that intentional? Is that not intentional? Why does Will get hurt when he sees a memory? Is that intentional or not intentional? When the Demogorgons get hurt, sometimes he gets hurt. What are the conditions in which that happens? But conveniently, when he dies, he's fine. So I just want to know what the rules are, because maybe it is following the rules for the Duffers, but we don't know what those rules are. Because like going into season 5, I was like, Will is definitely gonna die because he's so extremely connected to the hive mind, Vecna, whatever you want to call it, in so many ways.
They explained that that's what the rule is. If he's connected to the hive mind, he will feel what Vecna feels. They made that very clear in volume 2. Because remember, they were trying to revitalize, not
Yeah,
revitalize, but
but
kind of like
that's when
bring that
that
Demogorgon
thing
back
was
to
in
life.
him though. That was when the Demogorgon was in him, remember? I mean the mind flare, the
Volume 2,
particles.
no, in volume 2, when they brought that Demogorgon back to life with the electrical grids, Will was connected. That
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
in
the hive
him.
mind. That's
That's
true.
my point. It wasn't because of season 2. They made it very clear. If he's near the hive mind, he is connected to everything that's going on. How more
True.
connected can you be when you're in the abyss? You can't
True.
any more connected than that. Again, this is the plot armor thing. They did not want to kill these kids. They didn't have the balls to do it.
I
Let's see.
can't believe Will
Let me be clear.
survived.
What?
I can't believe Will survived in general. I can't believe they made somehow they thought that Winona Ryder going into the abyss is a good idea and she survived. What is
Let's
going
see.
on?
I mean, she didn't even have a gun. All she had was that stick that decapitated him, but that's
The
it.
axe?
She didn't have anything to protect her.
Brother.
I don't know.
But
That's what I'm saying. There is
I
just
don't
so
know.
the more I think about the I did not have these many issues right after we watched the finale. But the more I sat with it, the more issues I started to pick up.
Correct. It's just better
Now,
to focus on the epilogue.
yeah, let's focus on the
Because
epilogue.
there's a lot of whatever,
Okay,
honestly.
okay.
I mean, in general, a compliment for the whole finale. I like how they took their time with the epilogue. I really appreciated that.
Yeah,
But it is what it is. Again, at least he died. But like, it was a
I guess.
checklist item
I was
for the
yes,
finale.
yes, he did die, and we expected that to happen. But what I was hoping was grander final battle. And I don't
Correct.
think we
I wanted
and
to
I
see
feel like
some
we've
new
gotten
moves
I think
from
we've gotten
L.
right. And I think we've gotten bigger and better battles in previous seasons than
I
this.
agree. I wanted to see new moves from Elle. I wanted to see Elle and Will coordinating and attacking him at the same time. I wanted I wanted an injury or two, you know? I wanted some permanent damage.
If they teamed up to fight Vecna, how awesome would that have been?
It's what we all
It's something
wanted.
different. Yeah.
But it is what it
Okay.
is.
It is what it is. Now, we got to address the elephant in the room. Elle's sacrifice, because we didn't think they'd kill off a character. And that was the one thing I did not expect. That surprised me when
I
they
was not.
got to the gate. I was, because I didn't think they were going to kill off Elle. I thought everyone was going to live. Now, whether she died or not, we'll get into it. But we did find out at the moment that we as we were watching it, we were like, oh yeah, she's gone. When she was the last one left and didn't go through the gate. Do you think that was a good send off to Elle, or do you think that she should have died earlier in the episode when she was fighting Vecna? Or do you think that is the best way?
I loved it, honestly.
Okay.
I think that no, I don't think it should have been well. I honestly thought that was gonna happen with Will. I thought Will was gonna die while fighting Vecna. Like if they're connected. Like if you know if Will kills him, Will's also gonna die because of his connection to him. So I thought that was what's gonna happen. I love that Elle died on her own accord, if she did. But she consciously made that decision. And I think that's so badass. I think that's so grown up of her, so mature, so selfless. I think it was perfect. Like, Elle is gonna be an isolated person for her whole life. There's nobody like her, ever. Hopefully, there never will be more people like her. And I
Mhm.
think that's probably what's gonna happen. So I like how she came in on her own and is leaving on her own. I like that her send off was extremely emotional for me. When everybody was like, no, no. And then she like talked to Mike and, the message that she asked him to relay for her. I
Mhm.
loved it. I think she was like, you literally taught me how to be a person. You guys are so kind to me. You took me in because she's different. She's super, super different.
She is different.
And I loved it. And I like how she took things into her own hands and made a decision. I love that. And she wasn't even wishy-washy about it. She was very determined and she did it.
She did. She was
That's
confident about it.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
agree. I definitely think it was a good way for her character to leave.
yeah.
And what I did really like was that she gave like a proper special goodbye to Mike, because he did a lot for Elle. He
Yeah.
helped
The
Elle.
bottom line
You know what I
is
mean?
what
Like,
he means to Elle. I am with you.
exactly,
That's the
exactly.
bottom line.
And I think if she was gonna give a special goodbye to anybody, it would be him and Hopper. Mike and Hopper mean so much to Elle for different
Yeah.
reasons. And I think her giving the speech to Hopper saying, listen, you got to trust me into making my own decisions. That
That
was
was
great. And her saying goodbye to Mike, them kissing for the last time, that was also great. And yeah, I thought it was a great way, because look, Hallie at the end of the day was right, because the military are relentless. They're not going to stop. I don't know if they know about the Abyss or if they know about Vecna or whatever. All they know is that there is something special in Elle, and they want to exploit that and make
Mhm.
more replicates of her. So I did really like that. Now, here's one thing, and this is another plot hole. Well, one, we didn't I was hoping to learn more about Dr. K. Like, what
I know you were.
we we know her motivations, for wanting to create more super children, and that she's the reason that Elle had to vanish. But there were still so many questions about her past. Like, is she related to Dr. Brenner? Are they friends?
Yeah,
Are
it
they
would have been nice. It would have
That
been
would have been nice.
nice to
Yeah.
know what her relationship is with Brenner, if anything,
Mhm.
and yeah, to know her past a little bit. How did she get into this? Why does she want Elle? How did she know about Elle? It would have been great.
Yeah. And how about the military? They just upped and left? Like just like that? No, no.
Like,
Continue
do you know? And it was our cousin that said this. Like, do you know how many soldiers hopped, like, sniped, killed,
mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
were just like, anyways, bye. They just
Just like that.
that is
So
not, yeah.
no, 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 no. I get that L is your goal, but now that she's gone, it's like, okay, well, it's forgiven. Bye bye. No, like the Dr. K just give up?
Would have loved to know more. I don't know. Apparently, there's a spin-off, you know? I don't know what they're gonna do in the spin-off. I read that it's gonna be related to the origins of the Upside Down and stuff like that, which is wonderful, but then, you know, there's the play. Again, wonderful, but I feel like if you're gonna conclude this series, I don't think enough was given to us. Love that there's gonna be more content, but I wanted more background information.
No, I agree. And yeah, I mean, a spinoff is cool, but sometimes when people do spin-offs, they start milking a franchise. And I hope that's not what they do with Stranger Things. Maybe they didn't have to do that if they would just give us the answers. You know what I mean? For the
Yeah,
last
I
season.
guess I guess technically if they gave us the answers, then there would
There
be
wouldn't
no
be a
need for a
need to make a
spin-off,
spin-off. Yeah.
which that's a problem for them because they want the spin-off.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess I get it from like a business perspective.
Mm,
I don't know. Makes me a little sad, but
yeah. Yeah. And this is another final point I did want to make. We don't really know why Vecna picked Will. The end of Volume 2 suggested that
didn't
Vecna
the
only picked
Duffers say it? Didn't they say like we're gonna find out?
what in a spin-off?
No,
Or
didn't they say you're gonna find out about the day Will was taken and
yes,
stuff?
they did. They did.
They
Why
said that.
Will? Why that specific date and the origin upside down? They lied. They lied. They lied. Like
Why, Will? Why did the Upside Down freeze the night that Will was taken
yes.
in
Like they
time?
they did suggest that Vecna only picked Will because he
He's
was
just the
different. He
weakest
was different from
child
the others and he was weak. Like that's it.
in all of Hawkins. Girl, girl,
Stupid. Stupid. Stupid.
girl.
Stupid. They just I don't know, man. I don't know. Look at that. We don't know whether Robin and Vicky are still together. That's still up in the air because I don't remember Robin explaining it in Rock and Robin.
I don't think
But
she did, but I don't think so. But I mean, she's going to like an all-girls school, so probably not, but maybe.
I mean, wait, Robin or Vicky is going to girls'
Robin.
school? Okay, okay. I mean, is she sure that she wants to do that?
I think that's exactly what she wants.
Listen. She's not even gonna learn. If she goes to an all-girls school, it's gonna be just distractions here and there. Oh, but yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that pretty much covers it. So overall, how would you rate season 5 out of 10? I think I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 6. I don't know if that's me being generous or if that's
But
just me.
I guess I really like the epilogue, honestly. Like,
That's what I'm saying. The epilogue carried the finale for me. If it wasn't for the epilogue,
I mean, it was
this wasn't what
50% of
series.
it. Yeah,
That's what I'm
that's a
saying. So
lot.
I think overall, again, this season has good moments. It has some not so good moments. So overall, like a 5 to 6 out of 10, I'll say. 6 out of 10. I'll give it a 6. It's not a terrible score.
I'll give it.
I'm wondering if you're going higher or lower than
I never go lower than you.
that's true. You are nicer than
I
when it
never
comes to
go
things.
lower than you.
I'm usually more critical. Yeah.
I'll give it 6.9. So I don't want to give it a 7, but almost a 7.
That's very close, but okay.
Yeah, like almost a 7, but not a full 7.
Okay. So we agree that this is the worst season of the show.
It is, but I do want to reiterate that it's because the fandom had very specific expectations. And it's not that it was bad content, bad performances. It just did not deliver as a final season.
Yes.
Yes.
Final seasons are going to be final
And
seasons.
too warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I agree. But in general, final seasons are always going to be more scrutinized than any other season of a show. In
Yeah.
general, because it's the final season, you expect it to be like
Did anybody
creme,
even die
the
in the
creme de la
finale?
creme. Well, L, but now that's a debate
We
whether
don't
she
know
died or
that.
not.
Yeah.
I wish Mike did not say that. Like, just
I
let
like
her
that.
die. Oh, well, like,
It's just hopeful, you know? It's just
but this goes back to my point of the plot armor. Like, just let it go.
yeah, it's very for children. It not that alternative endings are for kids, but it's like they really it's almost like our own parents wrote it. Like they don't want to break our hearts, you know? But they're very like Santa Claus vibes.
It's not a kids show. Let's be clear.
But they're
It's not,
treating it they treated the finale like a kids show,
and they
in
should.
my opinion. And I don't think that they should because that's not how they treated us season 2, 3, 4. Um, I don't. It's cute. It's just like, it's nice to have a little hope, especially for the kids. I mean, if we're already going the, you know, happy-go-lucky route, okay, give us a little hope, sure, whatever. It's cute, whatever.
Just give them an opportunity for them to move on with their lives after losing something that's near and dear to their hearts. I think that is a more valuable lesson
A
than being delusional
mystical
and thinking, oh,
creature for
someone's still
them.
alive. Huh?
She's already like a mystical creature for them. You know what I mean? Like the mage, right? I feel like if it was a human, they wouldn't even play with this kind of stuff. But always has always been
Special. So you think that's what it is?
special, different, can bend reality. So I think they're just maintaining that, and it's fine.
I
Whatever.
guess. I
It's
guess.
cute. I think it's fine.
Well, there you have it. That concludes our thoughts for Stranger Things. It's the end, Mayor. 10 years. Unbelievable. What an
Oh.
experience. I do wish it was better though. Like, I don't know. But overall,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It didn't make me not like the whole series though. Like I still love the series.
Yeah, I think
I
this
just feel like
ruins
they
the
really took it easy on us at the end, which I'm not a huge fan of, but there's a small part of me that is like, I think this is what the Duffers wanted as a finale. And, as the people that brought us Stranger Things, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm really at a whatever stage with the finale, with season 5. I'll probably never rewatch it, maybe the epilogue. But like I've rewatched the other seasons happily and I was very entertained. So I'm not very whatever. Overall, the series it did not make me like this series any less though. I'm okay with it overall. How about you? Did it affect the way you see the series?
think it like I don't think it hurts the legacy of the show so much, but it does it does add a dig to it. Like it does kind of make it be okay, it didn't reach its full potential, you know?
Mm.
Just as a whole. And I think that's how people felt about and I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but the people who have followed it, people still think Game of Thrones is one of the greatest shows of all time, even though people like talk shit about season 8. But it's not gonna ruin the memories that I've had watching seasons 1 to 4. I feel like
Mm.
if I rewatch those, they still hold up.
Mm.
And I'm thinking about rewatching it someday because I've only seen it once. But overall, no, I still love the show. It's still the best Netflix show that I've seen. I don't think there's any other Netflix show that tops it. Now, here's a good question though. Where does Stranger Things rank as far as your favorite shows of all time? Like, is it top
Top 5.
five? Is that including animated or is that just live action? Aha, got you there. If it's including animated, because I include everything. So where would it put?
Are you gonna make me list the other ones? Because I don't think I would be able to.
Give me your five, your top five.
I don't have that.
But you just said it's top five, so you must have an idea.
It's a feeling.
Give it
I
to
don't.
me.
I don't legit have a list.
I know, but if somebody says, yeah, this is top five, you gotta know what some of those other ones are from between one to four. Just give me some.
From animated, definitely Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You go. There you go.
I've ever seen. I would say I haven't seen this in a long time, but in terms of, how I felt at the time, I think if I can remember what it's called, Jane the Virgin is in my top 5. I loved it. I watched multiple
I'm not
times.
surprised by that. Grey's Anatomy?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Even though you've gone off the bandwagon and
Yeah, but it's just too long. I can't see
yeah.
everything.
Fair. I'm thinking of like shows that you adore.
You know, a show that I rewatch a lot, but kind of hesitate to say it's in my top 5, but maybe I should consider it. Like my new comfort show is Grace and Frankie on Netflix.
You talk about that a lot.
I feel like I watch it enough to consider it being in my top 5.
Okay, so that's three so far.
Yeah, I think I have to throw in a political show because I watch a lot of
Yeah, you
those.
do. Homeland? You love Homeland.
Love Homeland, love Designated Survivor. I'm currently watching The Americans, which I'm loving. Oh, there.
Okay. If I were to make a suggestion,
Okay.
I think you and Soli should do an episode where you guys give your top five, top 10 favorite shows on Cut to the Fields. Because I think you two watch a lot of TV shows that you could probably make a list. You could take your time with it, share it, see if there's crossover with the
Mm-hmm.
two. Try
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah,
I think
I'd be
that's a great
curious to know.
idea. It's a great idea because then it'll force me to sit down and make decisions.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I would say it's top 10 or top 15. The shows that I can think of off the dome that I think are better, I think this right here, Breaking Bad, I think that one's better. I think Avatar is definitely better. I think
So you're
House is better.
including animated?
Yes, I am including animated. You should. No, nobody should discriminate different mediums, you know? I think House MD should be there. So those are three. I would put Better Call Saul above there. I love that show. Those are the four I can think of off the top. I'll have to do my list someday, but yeah, I would say top 10. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that concludes it. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let us know your thoughts about Stranger Things. What did you think of season 5? Did it live up to your expectations? Was it a major disappointment? Let us know. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? And yeah, that'll conclude it. Thank you for joining, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Happy to
And
join. Thanks, Suna.
have a good one.